the motherfucking intro. I'm just trying to get that money like 1-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block, try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with the bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in they fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And he told me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and caught me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 fight. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin is on the run here, pushing up towards, hopefully, our next target. We're going to talk about the big targets to the upside, guys. Obviously, we have had money flow coming into the green on the daily, looking for this move into the $78,000 to $80,000 range for quite some time, holding the longs from $66,000. And finally, we're starting to get the push up. So we'll talk about the next targets to the upside. And, well, we kind of hit that last level of resistance yesterday. We'll bring up some local levels here, guys, but overall, you know, even if we do get the pullback, we'll cover the support. But overall here, guys, we are now breaking above the major trend line, which is extremely nice to see. It looks like there's a higher probability that we're not going to see that failed auction of the trend line, so it looks good. We're feeling bullish. Money flows continuing into the green, but of course we have to expect the pullbacks, so we'll talk about the lower time frames, the key levels of support, the next targets to the upside, and we'll cover the higher time frames with you guys to talk about kind of what I'm expecting here for the long term on Bitcoin. Are we headed up to 86 to 90K, or are we going to get cut short here in the lower 80s? So we'll cover all the price action for you guys, and we'll even cover the local price action live. Hopefully we can get a move here on the live stream. I don't care if it's a dump or a pump. I just want some moves. But there we go. Shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in. We got Josh in the chat. What is going on? Servando Estrada, Gen Z, Bullish on Parade. We got Jesse and Tony D. Darren Does Things holding down the chat. Those are our mods. Show them some love in the chat if you appreciate the mods as much as we do. We got Lindo in the chat. NW Crypto said, let's bring the upside. Can't beat the Bay says, but 30K. Shout out to Can't Beat the Bay. Well, if you watch this channel, you will know. I mean, obviously, guys, like it's not impossible to go to 30K. That's not my overall base case, even if we do end up putting in a new macro low. But yeah, if we were going to look for 30K, if that does come in, it was coming in. It's got to come in way after this bounce from 66K. So yeah, I mean, people get bearish at the lows, guys. That is, you know, just the kind of psychological reality of the market. So we'll cover the price action for you guys. And without further ado, don't forget to smash that like button if you guys want to support the channel. It's free $99. Just smash that like. It takes 2 seconds. If you're, I don't know, just click the like button. If you're on the TV, I think you have to like go into some menu. But please, for the love of God, smash that like button, guys. Bitcoin's pumping. If you want it to go higher, the like button is proven to help pump Bitcoin. So without further ado, and Lucy just pooped. So she already dumped, and Bitcoin's not dumping yet. So that's a good sign. But let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So here we are, major trend line that we have been looking at here. We got the attempt above it into our local levels of resistance. We had the, obviously overall, I guess as we're getting the big breakout, we'll kind of just bring it back here. We had the range forever, right? Thank God we're out of this range. I'm just happy to be outside of that because that gets super, super boring after a while. I am holding the long from down here at $66,000 still. I've already taken profits along the way, but I am holding still a portion of that trade for some of these higher targets that we're going to talk about. But of course, as we saw the daily money flow, guys, if you take anything away from this stream, take that money flow away because obviously on the higher time frames, we got that daily money flow crossover, which as we have approached these last times to try to break out of the range, we did not have money flow coming into the green. That is what made me look at this low as a potential swing trade out of the range because that money flow was coming up. A very, very simple, obviously I'm not taking the trade, I'm not using the money flow as an entry trigger, but once I get those low time frame entry confirmations, of course, at a value area low where we know price is cheap relative to the recent price action, we caught a bunch of really nice trades within this range, short in the highs, long in the lows, short in the highs, even caught some scalps up in here, short of the highs again, and then this long decided to run. And of course, we did have that bias because of this daily money flow coming into the green. We saw the lower time frame money flow coming up first, and then once that daily money flow started following suit, we say, hey, there is a better chance than we had here and here to get this bigger breakout of the range. And if this does happen, the next major target is going to be the daily MPOC zone. Let me see if I can just bring these two MPOCs up because I don't want to bring up every single one. Watch this MPOC be all the way at the bottom of this list. There it is. So obviously we did have our next major target here between these two daily MPOCs. I have PTSD, guys. I just emergency checked if I was muted because sometimes we do go for a while I'm muted. But there we go. We had that major target here between the two daily MPOCs between about $78,000 and $81,000. We came up, tapped that first daily MPOC, got the pullback here. This was a little bit of a difficult situation because, if we were unable to break back above here, this could have ended up being a failed auction for a much bigger pullback where we had those major levels of key support to look at for higher lows and higher highs simply because that money flow is in the green. But yesterday, when we looked at the charts here, guys, that lower time frame money flow was pretty chopped up. We had the daily green dot looking to print with our 80 and 90-minute money flow crossing into the green here, indicating a higher time frame market cipher B 116 strategy, which oftentimes does continue the uptrend. But then locally, we did have the 30-minute and the 8-hour bearish market cipher B set up, pointing in the other direction, right? We had a bunch of chopped up signals there on market cipher B yesterday. I ended up getting closed out of my short here, but the obviously the longer term setup continues to play out, right? We are obviously having this higher time frame money flow being a more significant signal, right? And in these bullish scenarios, sometimes price just doesn't want to break down. And here we are, right on that green dot and 80-minute money flow crossover. That's the 30-minute, 80-minute money flow crossover, just giving us the higher low and the higher high. And now we are approaching our next major target. Now up here, guys, I'll be honest, right, from a medium time frame perspective, next major target is still going to remain the daily MPOC sitting up here at about $81,000, technically $89,931. We also have our major anchored VWAP. If you guys remember, there were a couple of very important anchored VWAPs we were looking at, but now that we have broken above those, we do want to pull, I think I have it on here on the chart. We had the $98,000 anchored VWAP. Right, very important level to flip into support. This could indicate not only do we use those anchored VWAPs to find sniper entries into our local trades, but when you look at it over a long period of time, these can also indicate massive trend changes, right? So getting above and holding this anchored VWAP, you can see we're now above that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the, well, I'm not going to delete this one, but I'm going to go ahead and pull another one, pull up the daily time frame. And we're going to pull it from our next significant high, right? Now, this does come in at about $82,000. We also do have a CME gap up here. So the next major target, right, just still remains the same. The context and sentiment remains exactly the same. We've been looking for the continuation up into this major zone. We may be able to find some resistance in here, but at this point, if we can, overall hold support. I'll cover the local levels. If you're not holding a long, right, this is a difficult situation. We've had a couple opportunities to enter those longs. Obviously, I'm in from the low at 66K. We had the flip of the POC, the value area high, and then a couple of local setups in here. But at this point, right, like, in my opinion, right, I wouldn't chase along up here. You can do what you want, but of course, right, just comfortably, this is the benefit of taking the long positions, right, as price is coming down, when people are scared, right, the breakdown is coming 100%, right, when we see those technical confirmations, of course, there is a chance you can get the breakdown, but when you know how to read the charts, right, you understand you're at a value area low, you can at least take this as a volume profile trade. Once that money flow comes up, you start to scratch your head and you think, hey, maybe we can get the bigger continuation up, right? That's basically how I made my bias, right? I don't really hold anything back on these live streams, and now we're seeing it play out, right? Everyone's super bearish, but we don't really make decisions off of that, right? We make decisions off of the chart, and I would say about maybe, I'll be conservative, probably like 70% of the time, the charts are going to be right, and it's a game of probabilities here. Very, very nice to see this price push into these major targets, because sometimes I start to feel crazy, right? Like, people say you're too bullish, right? And it's not really about being bullish or bearish. It's just about taking the information on the chart and having a bias, right? It's not like I'm bullish. I want price to go up for no reason, right? I have actual reasons I want to see that move to the upside. It's not just that I'm bullish. It's just the fact that, you have those technical confirmations. It's the higher probability, right? That just is what it is. So yeah. Next major target, $81,000. Now, as we have broken above here, I'm actually going to drag this up into this anchored VWAP because, at this point, we're kind of nitpicking targets here, guys. Of course, $78,000 to $81,000. That was our kind of first intermediary target. But when we kind of look at this from a higher time frame perspective, really, we covered this every day on this live stream. Simple auction market theory. Here's your upper value area. Your lower value area sits down here. Impulse out of your macro value area or your upper value. Price impulses to oftentimes seek out, or I wouldn't even say oftentimes, I would say like majority of the time, seek out previous value. So when you're up here, you're saying your previous value is down here. If we impulse down, right, we shorted this sucker, made a ton of money on that, literally short at the 98K high. We look to target into this previous value. Now it's kind of similar, right? I'm not long from the tippy low, but I'm long from 66K. And over the long term here, guys, not only do we have the daily money flow, but that 2-day money flow is also following suit. So, of course, pullbacks can be in store, but overall, the major next target above $82,000 is simply going to be to seek out this previous value area low at about $86,000. Same target we've been looking at, just takes a little bit of time to get there sometimes. And then if we pull up our horizontals, we do have a weekly MPOC, a monthly MPOC, on top of a bunch of daily MPOCs in here. So when I just talk about like the macro movements here, of course, we're going to have those local targets, which I'm updating you guys on today. We have been looking at the $78,000 to $81,000 level. Now we're talking about 82K because, of course, we are always going to have those kind of nitpicking the resistances here. There's not a lot, but major level, right? Like if we're going to impulse through here, low volume gap at the end of the day, not a lot above us, right? I struggle to see major resistance. If you're asking me where the next major resistance is, high time frame, major value area, it's sitting up here between $86,000 and about $90,000, guys. The same target we've been talking about. It's not that you can't get pullbacks. It can be confusing. But overall, right, looking at your volume profiles, or just your overall visible range volume profile, right, pretty low volume in here. Your next high volume node technically sits at 84K. We'll cover that level today as well. But overall, I would say, zooming out here, we talk about it constantly, and I hate to be repetitive, but it's important. This is why I'm repetitive, guys, because I like to hammer it home that it's like there's not a lot of resistance here. Money flow is coming up. Like, this is the higher probability move. And you can see we're cooking up towards that high volume node around, I'm going to call it 86, and then like all the way up in here, right? You have your high volume node here, right? Or if I were to mark it off in more of a, just take this off the chart to clean it up. Right, like from a very, very high time frame perspective, I'll just hide all this TA. High volume node, impulse out of this high volume node, fly through the gap. Impulse out of this high volume node, fly through the gap. Right, so that is the long-term target. And again, it's not that you can't get pullbacks, but the overall thought process there is there's not a lot of resistance ahead, and the next major target sits between $86,000 and $90,000. We don't have to get there today, tomorrow, the next day. It could be confusing, could be scary, and at the end of the day, we might reject local resistance, right? There's no guarantee you get there, but that is when I talk about those next major resistances, it's sitting up here. So that's going to be kind of the the overall target. Like, let's make it there. Come on, but. Of course, as traders, we are not going to miss these local resistance levels, so I'm going to cover those with you guys as well. And at this point, right, I'll pull back up. Let me get this off the chart. Just clean it up a bit, take off the VPVR. Overall, we're above the trend line, so, we might be able to see, pushes up, retest of the trend line, then send it. That's going to be a major important level. This is pulled from the all-time high down to about, but at $98,000 swing low, or swing high. Bear with me, guys. So, yeah, major trend line. And we flipped the major anchored VWAP from 98K, right? Like, this could indicate the major trend change, right? As long as you remain below this, lower high, right? We didn't put in a lower low, but now we're above it. It is support. Very, very nice. That's why I'm dragging this up towards the next major swing high, and that comes in at $82,000. So, previously, our 2 daily MPOCs were our major target up here. We're pushing into that target right now. Target number 1 was smashed. We'll see if we can get up into target number 2 at 81K. But I'm going to move this up, take this daily MPOC off the chart. And locally, I would say, if we continue up from here, whether we get the pullback or first or not, right? And again, I will cover that kind of local scenario. If we do get pullbacks, where will I be looking for a bounce? But let's just assume, regardless of what happens down here, if we continue up, guys, this is the next level to look at. 81 to $82,000. Major anchored VWAP, daily MPOC. And again, this is not monthly, weekly value area low. This is like an intermediary resistance, in my opinion. Doesn't mean you can't get the resistance. I would say, if we do pull our major Fibonacci retracements that we have looked at in the past, I'm just going to try to clean this up for you guys because I know looking at all these levels can get very confusing. We're just talking about that next target. We're going to pull some Fibonacci retracements here. I'm going to pull it from this swing or this lower high. Golden pocket, 786, pretty much sitting in that zone as well. So you do have to be careful here because if we are going to put in, and this is not necessarily my anticipation as of right now because of daily money flow and 2-day money flow coming into the green. But, you do have resistance here, right? It's not impossible to get the rejections. But again, when it comes to the high time frame, the monthly MPOCs, the major value area low, right, it really comes in up here, right? So I would say $81,000 to $82,000. That's the next major target. The first major, $78,000. We hit it. We get above that. Now we're just got to look up towards 81 to 82K. Money flow still in the green. We do have some VWAPs coming down, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. Sometimes it goes down in a straight line for a while. But, it doesn't mean we have to shoot right up there instantly. It doesn't mean long right here and expect $90,000. But that's your next major target. Mark it off on your chart. 80,931 to, call it 82.2. Very simple, right? And we also do, if we pull up the CME chart here, we do have a CME gap in there as well. So it would make sense to kind of come up and fill that. And then we'll look for, I'll be looking for major pullbacks here, right? I don't want to say major, but I will be looking for rejections here because at the end of the day, if we just continue up aggressively, we hit into this, fill the CME gap, there will be an opportunity for some pullbacks. And to be honest, with money flow coming up here, there is a chance, right, that even on a major pullback, we can still put in a higher low and continue up. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. I'm not going to cover those major levels right now because I don't expect to get a massive dump today. But yeah, very nice, guys. It's feeling bullish. And not just off of feeling, right? Obviously, based off the charts. You're never going to get any... if I just went with the crowd down here, right, and I was just like, guys, this is terrible. The bear market just started. We're going to 20K, 30K, whatever it is, right? I would be doing the Mafia a disservice, and I will never do the CandleMafia a disservice. As a matter of fact here, let's go ahead and light those candles up real quick. We got a, what do we got here? Mahogany teakwood. Mrs. Candles hates this candle, but we're going to light it. We're lighting it for the CandleMafia. It'll give us extra probabilities on the TA. If you have a candle, light it up. Come on, baby. Oh, my God, it's murder. Woo! Dang. All right, there we go. Candle gods, please, for the love of God, keep pumping Bitcoin. Thank you. All right. But, yeah, guys, feeling really good. Long still, obviously, massively in profit. Not too bad, right? I already have profits locked in, almost up $11,000 unrealized here. I also did take a little bit of a scalp short, also locked in profits. We'll see. If I stop out of the short, I don't mind, and I'll kind of explain that short to you guys. I'm going to come check in on chat in just a second. But, we'll cover down some of these local levels, obviously. What are we bouncing off of right now? I mean, again, trying to nitpick any kind of resistance. I mean, we're kind of we swept this high, right? Other than that, right, we got above the daily that was here, which sat right down here, right? So we are pushing into that daily resistance level. So we are at local resistance, right? I wouldn't consider this like, oh my God, major level. But of course, we don't want to ignore it, right? Because you can still get rejections. And of course, I want to capitalize on that. You know, Mafia is going to capitalize on that when we see it. So yeah, we'll cover. I'll break down some of this local price action, the key levels of support. If we do see a pullback, right, where can we look for bounces locally? And then maybe we'll go over like a little bit more of a bigger pullback scenario if we get that 2-day red dot. But right now, guys, like overall, I would say for like the main big trades, like I'm feeling good. I'm longing and I'm chilling. All right, let's jump on into the chat here real quick. Oh, shout out to you, Crow. Crow said, I'll be bullish once we break 153K. I think he's joking. Oil pumping. When Bitcoin keeps going up with no pullback, you know what happens next. Yes, of course, we are not looking for a... again, I wouldn't expect like just one massive candle here. Of course, we can see those pullbacks just like down here, right? Like when we say, hey, if we see that daily money flow continue up, we can look for 78 to 80K, which we're pretty much sitting at right now, right? We don't expect it to just do that, right? It's, oftentimes almost a straight line, right? But you do get those pullbacks. But of course, again, when I look at money flow, guys, money flow indicates the overall trend. If you're new here and you've never heard this, I'm sure most people have heard this. Money flow does not indicate the pullbacks, right? It indicates the overall trend. And the way I look at it is if I use it to understand the environment that I'm trading in, right? Am I going to want to be taking massive shorts here in anticipation of new lows if money flow is coming up? No. Why? Because the higher probability is to put in a higher low and a higher high and a higher low and a higher high. And you can see that trend has obviously continued up very, very cleanly. So, of course, we can see the pullbacks. And honestly, these pullbacks were very not aggressive, right? We could have come like much lower. We could have seen something like this and still gotten a bigger move up. That would not have changed my higher time frame bias. But sometimes when Bitcoin wants to go, it wants to go. Funny enough, right? Like compared to the stock market pumping, Bitcoin like not really moving as aggressively, which is interesting because typically you see Bitcoin be a lot more volatile. But either way, money flow indicates the trend, not the pullbacks. Of course, there are going to be pullbacks. We oftentimes, almost every single time, capitalize on those. And then it doesn't mean I won't take shorts, right? Of course, I just showed you I was holding a scalp short. But that will change kind of the way I handle those shorts, right? If we come down to major support and we start seeing higher lows forming, right, we get the confirmations. Maybe money flow is still continuing into the green after a red dot. Money flow continues up, VWAP comes down. At that point, right, maybe I would be locking in some significant profits on that short if I'm looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? Maybe you get that head and shoulders formation. But we'll cover those exact levels in a second. I'm going to come back in the chat for a second, see what you guys are thinking. Let's see. It should retest the trend line that it broke out from if this is a heavy move. Yeah, that is going to be a major level of support, obviously, with that important trend line, right? Again, if we pull back from here, right, we will be looking at that as major support. Of course, this trend line in general, right, like, honestly, like, TA aside, I don't even know if I would call this TA, right? Like, if you want to continue this and change your massive uptrend, it's very similar, guys, to this down here. Right, we had the major trend line. It's like structurally a very similar situation, right? We had the major trend line. We had a value area. We took the longs. We go through the profile. As we push up through that profile, we see that money flow crossing into the green. That indicated to us once we got above that POC, we start flipping the trend line. Little bit different, right? But same thought process. I don't trade trend lines, right? Like I'm not someone who's going to like pull a trend line on the 15-minute, wait for a retest. I do use them for like confluence, but we start getting above that POC. We start flipping the trend line. As long as you're below that trend line, right, major resistance. And, of course, this is in line with money flow in the red, right? Making me anticipate lower highs anyway. This is major resistance, lower high, stay below it, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Once we start cracking above it, closing daily candles above, money flow starts cooking to the upside. The money flow is already making me think continuation to the upside is more likely. And personally, we were looking at those daily bullish divergences for new all-time highs with that daily money flow. But you get above that trend line, major trend change, right? This is a major downtrend. A lot of people thought this was the bear market. A lot of people asking me, Frankie, is this the bear market? And I'm like, dude, I don't think so. Of course, because the charts were not pointing towards that. But we flipped the trend line, major trend to the upside. Now, I'm not necessarily expecting, it to look like this and push into new all-time highs. But you could even see here, very similarly, what is that first major target? It's going to be that value area low. We get into the value area low, flip it to support. You get into the POC. I'll even mark off these levels because you can see how perfectly they were tapped. Right? Once you get into the value area low, POC is next. Little rejection, right? Get above the POC, push into the value area high. And then eventually we ended up continuing up. But just to kind of show that, it's very similar, and it's not even that it's similar, right? It's just like how I look at the market. There's your previous value area. Whether you want to look at the local profile or you want to look at it as an overall profile, the value area low remains the same, about $86,000. $86,000 doesn't really change too much. But at this point, right, it's like, well, hey, break the trend line. Daily money flows in the green. As long as we can keep that money flow in the green, trend could continue to the upside. And then once we get up here, obviously major support, major resistance. And once we get up here, guys, right, if we do end up pushing into $86,000 to $90,000, we start pulling some of these bigger fibs, pull it from the lower high, right? You start pushing in $89,000, $90,000 is a very, very, very important golden pocket. Let me pull it from the all-time high. Put this on log. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if we take off all our major levels and just look at this from a Fibonacci perspective, we're in a bear market, right? Like, don't get that twisted. People always, I think, sometimes get it confused. Like when I say I'm bullish, right? This is why I kind of stay away from I'm bullish, I'm bearish, right? Because it's very contextual. When I say I'm bullish here, I'm bullish for the move from 66 into our first major target, right? Now that we're up here, we see money flow continuing up. We can remain in that bullish bias just like yesterday, right? We could see pullbacks, but we're going to remain in that overall medium time frame bullish bias for a continuation of the uptrend. Doesn't mean you can't pull back, but we will be eventually looking to take out that high because of our simple money flow coming into the green. But in the context of major Fibonacci retracements, we could, even if we don't get to this full Fibonacci retracement, right, from the massive lower high to the low, right, like we come up in here, this could be a lower high for a new low to come, right? Like this is just because we're getting this push up does not necessarily mean, oh my God, we broke the trend line, new all-time highs next, right? It's not that binary. So we are still in a massive downtrend. So you have to understand that this daily money flow does not necessarily need to carry us up to all-time highs. So just to kind of like set expectations, right? Like in the highest targets I'm looking at right now are really like $86,000 to about $90,000, where we will have this major resistance. And because it's a Fibonacci retracement, we have to understand that that could be an area. Where do we look for lower highs and lower lows, right? We're going to be looking in those Fibonacci retracements, right? So we could potentially see something like this. So just to kind of like set expectations, right? I'm not necessarily saying we have to go to all-time highs. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Randy, said, if you believe the bottom is in, aren't you now in a, I think you meant bull market. You said bear market. This shift thing confuses me. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, understanding if this was the bottom, it's going to take time to identify that. And this is why I always say you don't want to wait for a specific target or a specific amount of time. Like these are very like arbitrary things, right? They don't mean nothing, but they're not something I'll ever make a decision off of. And like the best thing I can do is come back here to 2022. I did not know, right? Once we got, the way I do it personally is once we identify that the top is in, right? It was the same thing in 2021, weekly bearish divergences. Weekly money flow starts coming out, right? Once you start getting that first drop, you get little retracements. Top is probably in. Your weekly money flow is coming out. Once that weekly money flow crosses red, this has only happened like 3 times, I think, and we're in our 4th one right now. Every single time that is indicated the top is in for lower highs and lower lows. That doesn't mean, right, that you want to like you know, I'm not waiting here for this $69,000 target to get hit to sell my bags, right? You got to take profits along the way. Dollar cost average out, dollar cost average in is always the best way to do it. Yes, you would maximize your profits if you could somehow magically know that 69K to the dot is going to be the high. Obviously, you're going to maximize profits if you hold your bag until that exact high, right? But if anyone's been in crypto here for any amount of time, right, that's very difficult to do regardless of the level of TA that you're doing. So I don't even handle it like that, right? I take profits along the way. And then once I identify that the top is in, right, I feel comfortable, you know, making that bet, then I will take off the rest of the profits. And then we look to go into the bear market with the weekly money flow crossover into the red. And then as we come down, right, I am dollar cost averaging in. Weekly money flows in the red. You get that first big capitulation. That is enough for me to start dollar cost averaging into the market, right? I'm buying. I don't know that right here is going to be the bottom, right? If we continue lower, I continue to weighted dollar cost average in, meaning I put a higher percentage of capital in on the drops. Like every new low, I'll put a weighted amount, a higher percentage of my capital in, right? So it's like I don't start buying here because I know the bottom is in, and then once we bounce, this is the bull market, right? Even here, right? I continue to dollar cost average, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. I don't know for a fact that this is the low. I had a way higher probability that this was the low because of the weekly bull div. This is where we started talking about the bottom's probably in. But you don't really know that until, like, you have to let price action develop, right? Then eventually you get over the bull market support band, and then up here was where we say, hey, break above 30K, let's enter the true bull market, right? Based off the volume profile. Get accepted into your value, right? There's your loss of value, deviation below. This is generally cheap price action, or cheap price, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. Once you get up in here, right, flip that value area low, you're going to be looking for the fulfill of that volume profile, right? And then money flow starts crossing into the green. Typically, historically, right, every time money flows cross into the green, even on fake outs, it has indicated the bottom is in. So it's not that like, okay, the bottom is in, bull market. Technically, you would have to look back in hindsight, right? In hindsight here, where was the start of the bull market? Well, technically, it was right here, right? That is the start of the bull market. But that's not necessarily where you're going to know it's the bottom. You don't know until, like, you really start breaking into new value. And I guess, you know, you can argue that you wouldn't know that until you break the high, right? But we're not going to wait for that to buy, right? That's why I say dollar cost average in. And it's the same thing with the high, right? I didn't know when we hit 126K that was guaranteed the top, right? We had the pullback. We saw the confirmations. Weekly bear divs are confirmed. And then as we were retracing into here, like, hey, sorry, guys, but it looks like 126K is very likely the top, right? Weekly money flow starts coming out. Your high time frame, like your 2-day money flow starts coming out. This is very indicative of a massive downtrend, and the weekly money flow crossover is very indicative of a bear market, right? Money flow crosses red right here. Big capitulation. This is where I feel comfortable starting to dollar cost average into the market. It doesn't mean that I know the bottom is in and we're in a bull market and I bought the bottom, right? I won't know that until we like really start getting above these major levels, right? It won't be until hindsight where you're like, okay, where'd the bear market, bull market begin? It began here, right? But we don't know that just yet. So if we do end up putting in a lower high and a lower low, I will continue to dollar cost average in, right? And then, you know, it's very hard to call how these accumulations are going to form, right? They form in many different ways, as I cover almost every day, right? This was a very, very long accumulation phase with a nice bull div, right? We've also seen 2017 was kind of just long accumulation. Then we kind of had the 2019 fake out bull market. And then, but the bottom was in at this point, right? And same thing. Weekly money flow crossover into the red, major capitulation, safe to start dollar cost averaging in, right? If you buy here, you're not saying I can guarantee the bottom's in, right? But as you wiggle around down here or even put in new lows, it's okay to continue to dollar cost average in. For me, not financial advice. So would you know that the bull market is starting right here? No. I mean, you could have put in a lower high. You could have put in a lower low. But at the end of the day, right, you're just looking for that accumulation pattern. And in 2014, you did not get any kind of bull divs or anything. In 2017, you got daily bull divs. You can't see it here because I'm on the weekly. But you had a low, a lower low. You had daily bull divs, which is a very nice sign that you can get a big bounce up. In 2014, you just ended on capitulation. So there's no way to like really predict exactly how that's going to look. You know, did we bottom out here on capitulation? It's possible, but I am still open to new lows coming in. I can't say it's guaranteed. But again, I am partially exposed to the market here. If we dump, I will continue to buy in. And then, you know, as I've covered yesterday, right? If we come lower, right, I would love to see those weekly bullish divergences. Whew, that would be so nice. But yeah. 30K is dead. Don't fool yourself. Yeah, shout out to Eric. I mean, I said a while ago that 30K calls are starting to feel like the 8K calls in 2022. I try my best to, like, be transparent about that. So, yeah, again, my base case, even if we do put in a new low, right, there's going to be a lot of bears, right? And, again, I don't even like to identify them. I mean, a lot of people do emotionally identify as a bull or a bear. I have zero emotion in this, right? I don't know. When you ask me as a trader, as a technical trader, I don't know if we're going to put in a new low or not. I have a plan if we do have a new low, right? And I have a long-term plan for what I'm going to do if we get down there. But let's say, you know, we come up here, right? Or maybe we reject from where we're at. Well, either way, right, if we put in a new low, this is where those bears are going to feel super validated. And they're going to be like, that's it. Told you. 30K, 30K, 30K. If we put in those massive weekly bullish divergences, like, my base case is not 30K, right? Covered this, like, from, like, before we got this big capitulation down, right? This is major support, retest of the all-time high. Looking at the higher time frames, and that's not to say that 30K is impossible, but I need to see the signs on the chart to call for that. Right now, we've gotten the retest of the all-time high, and we do still have major support underneath us, right? Previously, we have dipped below previous all-time highs to print those bull divs. If we see something like that, right, I'm just going to look for what I looked for here in 2022, right? It's the same thing. Previous all-time high, dip below the low, weekly bull div. This is where people are saying, and this was paired with really, really bearish news, right? FTX goes down. Told you, regulation coming in. A lot of people were saying this was the last bull market we were ever going to see. Bitcoin's dead. 8K coming. Told you, 8K, 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 8K. Bullish divergence. I don't think 8K is coming. Bottom's in, right? I don't care what the sentiment is down there. And it does just, if we do that, right, and people are calling for 30K, I'm not saying you can't dip into the low 50s, high 40s maybe, but you have major support down here. And it's a beautiful place if we do put in a new low. Right, it's a beautiful place to print that bull div. If we don't get the bull div, we start getting accepted into this previous value. Well, that's a different story, right? But we don't have that on the chart just yet. So, you know, we talk about the weekly RSI. You know, if the weekly RSI had not been oversold currently, it was oversold. Now it's gone back up. If we did not have, I'll pull that up so you guys can see it. Right, weekly RSI oversold. I'll just go through this super quickly because I cover it all the time. Just to, you know, again, I try to be as clear as possible. Just show you the information, right? It's not, you know, 2026 bottom watch. This is for a reason, right? These are the only times we've seen the weekly RSI oversold. Sure, maybe you put in a new low here. Sure, you put in a new low here. But at the end of the day, you are better off looking for accumulation, not some major capitulation. The capitulation's already happened. The capitulation's already happened. The capitulation's already happened. The capitulation, or at least most of it in my opinion, has already happened. So this is what I make my bets off of, right? It's a chart, right? It's paid off time and time again. It does not mean you can't put in a new low, right? But if that low comes in historically, right, here's your weekly oversold RSI, new low, right? But it's still overall accumulation. It's all about getting a good average entry price here. Not, you know, when I got my entry here at around 20 to 21K, I think it was like 20,000 and change, right? I'm not looking at 100, when I'm at 126K, I'm not looking back and being like, oh man, I could have bought in at 15K, right? I'm just happy I got in on this accumulation. I'm not chasing those higher prices. So food for thought, right? If the RSI was like hanging out, if we were in our current situation and the RSI was like right here, well, then there would be a reason to think we have much, 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 much lower to go, right? Then I'd be saying like, hey, like the 30K does look very, very likely, right? Because we are not even oversold on the RSI. Maybe we get oversold on 30K on the RSI. Then you get the bounce. Then you could put in a bull div, which again is not guaranteed that you need the bull div. But then you would get a bounce and then a higher low, and you would get that bull div. But this weekly oversold RSI has already happened, which every other time has indicated you are very close to the bottom. If not, the bottom is in. The bottom is in, right? It's never perfect. But one thing that is 100% true every single time is you are better off not assuming that the bear market's starting here. Factually, the bear market starts up here, right? It doesn't start down here. The bear market started up here. It did not start down here. Oversold RSI, oversold RSI. This is where I get the bias, right? And if something crazy happens, right, maybe we see the RSI do something it's never done, right? It goes like super oversold. You know, I mean, you can even draw it like as a zone. Right? Like once the RSI gets into this blue zone, you're pretty close to the bottom. Like just if this, then that. If you hit the blue zone, right, maybe the bottom's not in. It was in here. It was in here. It wasn't in here. We did make a new low. But again, still great buying opportunity, right? Currently, we have dipped in there. Doesn't mean you can't go lower, but it's a good buying opportunity. Historically, not financial advice. So there you go. That's but just, you know, this is how I come up with my biases for the long-term accumulation. Shout out to our day. Said enjoy trading while it lasts. Might be short-lived. Advanced AI trading will be able to outtrade any human being within the next few years. I mean, if that means that I can just have my AI trade for me and I don't have to stare at the charts anymore, I mean, I do love the game, but automatic money printer? I wouldn't mind it. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to V Entry says, people pay for this kind of info. Most free value you ever get on the internet when it comes to trading and investing, guys. Shout out to James says, when you see trick-or-treaters, it will be 3-year bull market can still make money. Shout out to James. I don't know what you mean by that. Let's see. You would need a DeLorean to see 30K. Now, again, to be fair, right, this is not me saying, because my bias, this is not an emotional bias for me, right? Like, it's always funny, right? Like, if I see something like this, right, we don't get the bull divs and price continues down. Let's just say we go to 30K. You know, an emotional person be like, see, we went to 30K. You were wrong, right? Like, I just don't care about that, right? Like, it's just a educated guess off of data on the chart and historical price action, right? So if we get down here, right, like I'm not saying that, like, I will not be pissed off if we go to 30K, right? And I am definitely not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it is not the highest probability scenario right now. It could become the highest probability scenario once we see the signs. Very simply put, we are still above this value area high. We have monthly and weekly, daily MPOCs, previous all-time high, 200-week moving average. Right, we do still have support down here. There's major support down here, right? But if we did something like this, where we get no bull divs in here, and hey, maybe we get the bull divs, right? And let's just say you just end up rolling over, right? TA is not 100% correct every single time. These indications have been 100% accurate in the past. Does not mean they're going to continue to be. If we lose the 200-week moving average, not if we lose it, right? But if we lose it, we can't get back above it. We start getting accepted into this profile. We can't get back out, right? Money flow is all coming out on the higher time frames, right? Well, then we can say, hey, the bullish confirmations are invalidated. Well, if we can't get back above here, then the highest probability. There is a place where the highest probability becomes the 30K lows, right? A 30K value area low. It's just not up here, right? It has to get accepted into the profile. Exactly what we look at on the lower time frames, right? And if I pull this up on the Bybit chart, right, it'll give me, because this is the chart that I like to look at. I'll pull up the high time frame supports, right? And I'll just draw this as like a large zone. It's if we get the confirmations, right? If we come down here, we see a massive weekly bull div into these levels. Like, that's just bullish. Like binary. That is a bullish sign. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to play out. It played out here, right? But if we don't get that and we get accepted underneath this value area high, it starts to look a little suspicious, right? At that point, this POC is your line in the sand. Once you lose that POC, and we'll have an idea of what the overall continuation will be based off money flow and other analysis, right? We'll probably know earlier than when we get to this POC. But at this point, once you lose that POC, the highest probability then becomes to get the massive drop into the 30s, right? We are not there yet, right? We are not underneath this value area. We're above this value area high. We're not even tapping it yet, right? Once we get under there, then the probabilities increase that we go down to 30K. So there is an area where it becomes a higher probability. It's just not right now, right? So I'm not saying it's impossible to go to 30K, but it's not the highest probability scenario, in my opinion, right now. And it's not my emotional opinion. It's my opinion based off actual information and almost a decade of looking at these charts. Shout out to the Chris Amella says, Frankie said he would kiss me if we hit 100K by June. I did not say that. I did not say that. Yeah, it would be painful, but it would be nice to be able to accumulate some more at lower prices. Absolutely, right? Like, again, it's like if we get back, put down a new low, like I'm not upset. It just is what it is, right? If we go down to 30K, I'm not upset, right? If we go down to 30K, guys, I don't know. You guys are going to see me launch like a paid, I'm going to sell my feet pictures to buy more Bitcoin at 30K if we get down there. But I just have to be, you asked me my bias, right? Like, this is my base case. And we've talked about this when we were up here. The case number one, right? The more bullish case is that we come down into our previous value area, which sits down here, right? Maybe deviate below, push into those lower levels, and the bottom is in. And the more bearish case is just the traditional 4-year cycle repeating again. And like I said yesterday, if you're looking for that 4-year cycle to repeat, I don't think you're crazy. I really don't. It's happened every single time. Timing-wise, percentage-wise is a little bit, it's changed. But, base case number one, if we do put in a new low, right, it's either something like this. If we get accepted into the range, then you see the traditional 4-year cycle play out. And what would I be looking at? I'd be looking between 38 and 30K, right? So there's a time where I will be looking for those targets. It's just not yet. Totally unemotional biases. If those picks have a little bit of calf in them, I'll buy them for $1. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when we go to the conferences, like my calves, I don't know what it is with my calves, but people are always like, "Let me see those calves," and they're either like, "Oh my God, yeah, why are your calves so big?" Or they're like, not impressed. It's pretty funny. But it's not only a joke on the YouTube channel, guys. It's not just a CandleMafia joke. It is always been a joke throughout my life. I've just always had big calves. I don't know what it is. My protein goes straight to my calves. My barber recently he's brushing the hair off my legs. I said this the other day. He goes, "Wow, bro." He like barely speaks English. He's like, "Wow, bro, big legs." I'm like, I can't escape the calf comments. Yeah, DCA and hold your bags on one account and trade to make money on the other account. Shout out to Zombie. Yeah, that's literally how I do it, right? I allocate most of my money to my long-term investments, and then I have my trading accounts. That's my active income, right? I look at trading as my kind of job, right? And then the long-term investments are more of just like my passive investments. So like I don't care if I have to hold Bitcoin through drawdown, right? Like my Bitcoin that I bought down here, if we come down and that's in drawdown, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm never going to make money, right? I'm just dollar cost averaging in, right? And even if it did go to 30K, say, right? Again, not my base case. But if we did see that, it's not like, oh my God, I'm wrecked. Oh, I'm never going to make it, right? Like I would see that as like, I'd probably have a lot of my capital allocated here, but I would just see that as a massive opportunity, right? Because I do believe in the next 5 to 10 years, Bitcoin is going to be above, not only above 60K, right, but it's definitely going to be above 30K, in my opinion, right? Maybe Bitcoin goes to zero, right? That's a risk I'm willing to take. Always have a short-term and a long-term portfolio, absolutely. You know what they say about big calves? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. But anyway. What do I think needs to happen to break the 4-year cycle? I don't know. I don't really look at the markets like that, right? Like I use the 4-year cycle. I have it charted out, right? I have all the major measurements. These are all, this is why I tell people, like, if you're looking for 30K, if there's a lot of people out there, they're like, I'm not buying until we hit 30K, and it happens in October because that's the timing of the 4-year cycle. I don't think that's like totally insane, right? Of course, top to top has been almost identical, right? Give or take. You can't really ask for it to be much closer. Top to bottom has been almost identical. Back here, it was a little bit longer. Very, very close, right? So, like I don't really think you're that crazy. I don't think people are crazy for expecting this to be in the realm of ending in October, right? Could it look like that? Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't be, it's not a crazy thing, right? Even from a technical perspective, right? It wouldn't be a crazy thing. Go retest the macro golden pocket, higher low, major new high. So I don't think it's crazy, right? It's just, it's too soon for me to be calling for that level, right? So I don't want to be the channel that's up here calling for 30K and then we put in an earlier bottom and we continue up. And I also don't want to be the person that doesn't buy, right? It really has way less to do with the channel and like my reputation than it does with like what I'm actually doing, right? Like I want to make money. So I do it as maybe money in the past. So again, right, like the two scenarios are, and again, I wouldn't expect it to really look like that, right? It'd probably be something like this, maybe like 2022, right? And then you go into the bull market, right? And then hopefully we can end on massive bullish divergences. And then case number 2 is just simply 4-year cycle repeats, right? But again, the 4-year cycle, like if we were going to see 30K, like this could happen, right? Not my base case. I'll say it 1,000 times. But the reason for this, right, is that, like, sure, this could be possible. Is that, Frankie, is this possible? I get this question all the time. Like, could we go here and then reject there? Like, sure, anything is possible. Just like 150K was possible. Why did I say that 150K was much less likely and 126K was likely the top? It was because we had the charts pointing towards that, right? It's an if this, then that scenario. If we did not have these massive bearish confirmations, the next target would have been 150K, right? 137K, really. But it's the same thing here, right? If we don't get those confirmations, well, hey, maybe those lower targets are in store. But with the oversold weekly RSI, again, as I showed before, every single time has indicated the bottom is either in or you're in accumulation. You could say, hey, I'm expecting this to happen, but you just can't ignore the fact that this is not lining up, right? People don't like to do that because it makes it muddy and confusing, right? It kind of goes against their emotional bias, right? Or like their bias of comfortability of what has worked in the past. So you could say, like, yes, this is possible, right? But you cannot ignore that this is happening. Just like $150K is possible, but you cannot ignore that this is happening, right? I said this when we were up here, right? Like, sure, we can go to 150. Is it 150K possible? Is 137K possible? Absolutely, right? But you cannot also, right? If they print money, can we pump? Yes, but you also cannot ignore, right? You could say, but also there are massive bearish signs, right? I'm a technical trader, so I typically go with the charts, right? I'm not just going to go charts telling me up. I'm just going to wait for the 370-ish day bear market bottom to come in. So for me, the charts will outweigh that. So there you go. All right, let's go down to these lower time frames because I did say I was going to cover these lower time frames, and we kind of got distracted with the high time frames because I think it's important. I think a lot of people that watch this channel are also just kind of investors that are looking at, they might want some real information on like what's looking to happen here. So again, 2026 bottom watch, is the bottom guaranteed in? Not necessarily. Could it be in? Yes, I do believe we could potentially put in a new low. But at the end of the day, from a high enough time frame perspective, I do think you are better off understanding that the bear market did not begin here, but you are likely looking for the ending. Should excite people, honestly. And it is a little bit stressful, guys, because our calls down here were beautiful. Our calls up here were beautiful for the bottom and the top. Does not necessarily mean I'm going to be 100% accurate every single time. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. But for the hit rate, we're not looking at nonsense stuff here, right? We're looking at really how the markets move. So low time frame, guys, as we continue to reject here, we do have a local volume profile. Now, this is very, I wouldn't really be looking at this as like a very clean volume profile. This is somewhat speculative. It is pulled from this kind of wonky consolidation that we had here. But when I try to find these next key levels, there's just not a lot here, right? So we came up, we swept these highs. These highs were swept. Previous monthly high, we swept above the highs, but for me personally, right, we deviated above the value area. with some low time frame divergences, right? This indicates a pullback. This is what I took my scalp short off of. We get back into the range. If we can't get out of this value area high and we lose this POC, we could see a little bit more of a pullback. Now, in the most aggressive manner, right, these are very low time frame levels. My high time frame bias is still if we get big pullbacks, I'm still looking for higher lows and higher highs. But locally, if we get a pullback below this POC, and we also have the tapped, let me re-pull this because I think I deleted it. We do have the daily up here as well, right? So we have this daily. If you guys watched the stream recently, you will know we had the previous high, and then we had the daily MPO, daily horizontal, right? So when we look at this, whoops. If we hold on top of this, hey, could just continue to be very, very bullish. And again, really the only other thing I can look up to here is the daily MPOC. Or I'm sorry. Well, yeah, it is still the daily MPOC, right? $81,000. This is really the only thing we have above us, right? And like even these are like, even the previous monthly high that we're rejecting right now is like nitpicked. Still a level, but I would say like in general from a simple standpoint here, previous high, daily, right? This would be important to flip to support. Tap daily MPOC would be important to hold on top of as well, right? If we wind up breaking below that daily, below the, which of course is also very close to the POC of that range, right? So once we lose that POC daily, that would indicate to me that we'll see the bigger pullback into the levels that I'm about to talk about right now. But very aggressively, if we get out of this profile, right, if we stay on top of these levels, you could just see the aggressive continuation up. If so, I'll get stopped out pretty much at break even. I took very small profits on this to cover my fees on the short. If I get stopped out of that, it's basically a break even trade, and then my long continues to pay me out into the next major target at $81,000. So these are like really nitpick levels, to be quite honest. But I would say personally, this is your key level locally. Lose this, I would look for a bigger pullback. Of course, you have the open door to potentially go to the value area low, but again, I'm not going to treat this value area necessarily like a typical volume profile because in an aggressive uptrend, sometimes Bitcoin does not like to get those big pullbacks. So the next, I would say this sits between about 78.7. The daily sits at about 78.646. If we end up losing that, I would look for a little bit more of a pullback into the next major key levels of support, which I have in a folder here, which sits down here. We have the golden pocket, 786, anchored VWAP, and we also have a CME gap down here. So this is sitting between 78,154 and 77,460. When you're in these aggressive uptrends, right, like the major level to look at, as you guys know, I'm mostly a volume profile trader for very good reason. Right, this is what gives us the beautiful opportunities. Take off the 76K range, right? Beautiful opportunities to short the highs, long the lows, short the highs, long the lows. Big breakout in these aggressive trends. Really, it's very hard to pull these clean volume profiles, which is why I'm not really treating this one as like law, right? But as a volume profile trader, I do kind of like to lean on them. But at the end of the day, right, like what we're going to kind of lean on here in a major uptrend is really the Fibonacci retracements. So you have from the most, most recent significant higher low to the high, 786, 78,154, 70 to 77,460. We have the CME gap sitting down here, and the 786 with the anchored VWAP. I mean, if we're going to pull back and aggressively continue up, this is kind of the level I'm looking at. I will be interested in scalp longs at this level. I'm not really super pressed to like force a long position because obviously I'm long from the low. But I know not a lot of people are holding longs, and yeah, I mean, this is what I'd be looking at. Fill the gap. Golden pocket 786 gives you an opportunity to put in a higher low. I will take more profits on the short if we can get down here. And then I will treat that as a scalp, right? Because if you look here, right, let's see that 4-hour red dot looking to print. Just like yesterday, guys, like the market cipher B 1/16, money flow, it's a little chopped up here. But you have the 4-hour red dot printing. Look at that. Oh, live 4-hour red dot. 15-minute money flow. could be rolling over here, right? So just like yesterday, I took a trade. My context was the 30-minute money flow coming out. I was able to take the short. Money flow comes out. But again, in an aggressive uptrend, sometimes you see those fake outs. So again, I am putting a little less weight on the lower time frame money flow and more weight on the key levels, right? So if we do come down here, I will be interested in potential bounces. If we don't, I'm just holding my longs. I'll stop out of the short at like almost break even. I'll probably make a few bucks. And then the next major target, guys, like really like $81,000. Nothing. Like I really can't find anything in here. Right? You get above these highs, it's basically just a straight gap. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get the bigger pullback. Let me pull up that. We'll watch this locally for a little bit. And we'll cover. I'll cover Ethereum in a minute as well. Right? And I mean, I guess you could mark out this profile. Again, I'm not treating this one as law, but lose the daily and the POC, right? I would be careful around those higher low zones. But at the end of the day, right, like the next major value area low sits at about 76.6. So, you know, eventually maybe we can look at this as context. But just to be clear, I'm not necessarily treating this as law. I just kind of use it to help me find where I could be looking for price to be a little bit expensive so I can catch those little moves to the downside. Again, I am a trader, so that doesn't mean we're going to zero from here. So let's see. I'm going to put an alert here. Put an alert on the daily. So if we lose that daily, we'll get an alert. We'll see if we can get that pullback into the support. And yeah, I mean, in these massive uptrends, right, it's like, it's hard to pull those profiles, right? Like I have no like real significant profile to pull from. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of happy just holding my small short with break-even stop loss and just enjoying the move, right? If I wasn't here on my chart earlier, catching that scalp short here, like I'd probably just be sitting in my long positions and continuing to get paid out. But let's take a quick look. I'm going to come into chat here real quick, and then we'll take a look at Ethereum. Let me just get that ready. Bada boom. All right. Shout out to Chris Amilla. Said, I hope Frankie drops the Frankie Spit energy drink soon so I can butt chug it. Good Lord. Shout out to Chris Amella. Most out-of-pocket comments in the CandleMafia. If you know, you know. Shout out to Teresa, says, Frankie, sometimes you have to think outside the chart. Shout out to Teresa. I'd have to disagree with that. Anytime that I have, and it's not to say if you think outside the chart, it could be right, but majority of the time for me, anytime, like I just never think outside the chart. And of course, I take this stuff into consideration, right? Like I think of the 4-year cycle. I think of news, right? I take into account geopolitics, macroeconomics. I take that all into account, right? But at the end of the day, all the signs for those things are already on the chart. I would say dang near 90% of the time. Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. Everything that is outside the charts is sentiment, it's feeling, it's emotion, and it's not real data, right? Now, obviously, macroeconomic stuff is real data, but what were they saying up here? What if they print money? If they print money, how could you be bearish? They're going to print money. We're going to 150K. To which case I say, yes, valid information. However, I am not going to ignore the signs on the chart. Weekly bearish divergences, money flow coming out, right? They end up, right? And then we get the tweet here. These shorts that we took were not based on the tweet, right? People will say, you know, some people will long this, right? I would never long at the top. If they long there, they would have gotten wrecked on the news. I trade the charts, and the charts here tell me short. We take the short before that tweet ever comes out. All of a sudden, the tweet comes out, and our trade plays out in full and brings us down to that value area low. If I was thinking outside the charts, I would think, oh, my God, bearish tweet, short. I would have gotten cooked. So in my experience, it has never been beneficial to think outside the charts. And not to not think outside the charts, but to make decisions outside the charts, right? Yes, it is a correct theory to think if they print money, price will go up. I would agree with that, right? It is like here, right? They would say, how are you bullish? One of the major exchanges just collapsed. Regulation, right? Like that's thinking outside the charts. All I see is a weekly bullish divergence. So anytime, right, there's some kind of narrative, I just never make my decisions off of it, and I've never, ever regretted it. And even if it does go against me, right, which will happen and does happen, right, I'm not going to lose my life, right? Like I manage my risk. So, again, everyone, I feel bad. Everyone always gets caught up in they're watching all these things. These people got hacked. There's this bill coming through, all this stuff. It's not that that stuff's not important, but it's just not necessary. It doesn't always translate one-to-one on the price. Right. So yeah, I don't know. Show me the charts. I'll tell you the news every single time. It's just how I trade, and it's worked very well so far. Let's see. Shout out to Zach. I am still holding the scalp short. Let's see if I get stopped out. You only need charts. Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. I never know the news. Anytime I'm in a trade and someone's like, did you see that thing came out? And, oh, my God, you see the Trump tweet? We're nuking. I'm just like, oh, awesome. Short from the top. Plays out beautifully. And then, again, if you pay too much attention to that stuff, if you trade off of that stuff, you're thinking to yourself, well, where am I? Okay, tweet comes out, absolute mega nuke. You're not going to get filled up here, right? You're going to get filled somewhere here, probably closer to the low. And then you're thinking, where do I take profits? This is bearish. We're going down forever, right? And then you short the bottom, and you get wrecked on those retracements. In which case, if you're shorting the charts, right, or trading the charts, you can have the short here, and then the news just assists that move. Where do you settle? Right on that value area low. It's pretty crazy. I'm not here to say it's a conspiracy. It just is what it is, right? From experience, right, and past price action. Yeah, shout out to VSK said I used to trade Twitter sentiment like a clown. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Again, it's I don't really blame people, right? It's like you can't feel too bad about it. It makes sense, right? Like right here, people call me crazy. We short on ETF approvals. We came into a major retracement. We had massive confirmation. We take the short. Now, was this overall bullish? Sure. But people, there's a lot of people caught long in that top thinking, oh, my God, bullish news, it goes up. Right? What they don't understand is how are you going to feel if you go into drawdown? Now, you could long it here, right? If you want to buy some spot here because the ETFs were approved and you understand you could take that dip and then continue up, that's fine. But a lot of people don't think like that. They just think ETF approval, 100x, max long, no stop loss, wrecked. We short here. And then, it's always as a trader, you're going to be somewhat contrarian. Obviously, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on the ETF approvals, right? But I'm a trader. I can make a bunch of money on this move. I have a skill where I can find setups on the chart and extract money from my computer. I'm going to capitalize on that. The hard thing is, a lot of people don't understand that, and they'll think, well, this guy's shorting the most bullish news we've had ever. And it's I guess technically you're correct, right? But, we end up making money there. We're not looking for this to go to zero, right? We're not looking, oh, my God, that's got to be the top. So, yeah, show me. And I think people, it makes so much more sense to hear Trump made a meme coin. We're going to $1 billion and then get absolutely cooked, right? Doesn't mean you're not going to go back to all-time highs, right? But that's if the market was that easy to see a headline and just get in, right? It'd be so easy for people to make money. It's not how the markets move. It's not a one-to-one correlation. And I think it makes so much sense to think that it's a one-to-one correlation that you kind of have to learn the hard way. So don't feel like a clown, bro. It kind of makes sense. It's but, you spend enough time here and you're like, man, I keep getting wrecked doing this. Let me figure out how the market actually moves. Oh, liquidity? Oh, market structure? Oh, money flow? Whatever. And you start figuring that out and you start using it and you're like, then you start to feel on the right side of things. You're like, hey, guys, meme coin's going crazy. Everybody's paying a lot of attention here. And it takes time to understand this, guys. I've been through 3 Bitcoin cycles. It's like that every single time, right? Feeling very toppy up here. Not necessarily for the bear market, right? But people are always asking me, oh, should I buy right now? And it's I don't know, man. This is just super euphoric. You have to wait for some kind of a pullback. If I was ever going to buy after a big move up like this, it's I missed the move. I have to wait for some kind of significant retracement. The problem is when you get down here, it's usually accompanied by bad news, bad sentiment. Everyone's bearish. Everything's going to zero, and it's harder to buy. But how do you eliminate the emotion? You look at the chart. What do you see here? Massive daily bullish divergences. Money flow coming up. You break the trend line, right? That's just binary. It makes it a lot easier to be bullish when you're supposed to be and not bearish like the crowd, right? If you're bearish down here, you're too late, right? If you're bullish up here, you're too late. If you're bullish up here, you're too late. If you're bearish down here, you're too late, at least locally, right? You don't want to like, I don't think there was really news here, but like, let's say there's bearish news, right? Like the market doesn't move like that. You get consolidation, accumulation, you get all this stuff, right? Once you understand the patterns, once you understand the technicals, it becomes a lot easier to just kind of like, it just eventually you realize you're like, man, I don't even need the news. Once you get into trades and the news assists your move 10 times in a row, you're just like, oh man, like, I don't know why I was ever really tripping about the news. So it's not that you don't want to think about it, right? You could keep it into account. We watch the Fed meetings, all that stuff. But yeah. 4-hour bear div confirmed. Yeah. Technically. Now again, I do like to, this is, well, let me see this. Yeah. Technically, you do have the bear div confirmed. Let me get rid of that golden pocket real quick. Just mark off this bigger zone. So yeah, 4-hour bear div, not confirmed. It is printing, at least based off market cipher. There's your lower high. There's your higher high. Again, as I mentioned the past couple streams, I do like to see this a little bit more local into the level, right? You get like a massive pullback, then another massive push up. Typically, I do like to see these a little bit more like this, right? But it is still a bearish divergence, right? So to answer your comment, absolutely 4-hour bear div confirmed. Question is, are we going to hold the daily? Are we going to hold the previous high? Are we going to get the bigger pullback? You do have a daily MPOC confluent with this trend line as well. Maybe get something like this. Where does this sit? 75. Yeah, we'll see when that comes down, how this moves. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum here real quick. Just see something here quick. Yeah, 5-minute, 80-minute red dots confirmed, I think, already, so no confluence there. Yeah, I mean, 90-minute crossover into the green with the daily green dot. I mean, in my opinion, again, money flow is a bit chopped right now, so I would take it a little bit more with a grain of salt. But, you know, in this case, right, you would be looking for the local trend to continue up. But we'll see. If we get the pullback, we'll be able to watch it live. Take a look at Ethereum here, guys. Key level we looked at yesterday, or past few days. Value area low, major support. As long as you can hold on top of that, doorway to higher prices is open. Potentially targeting about $2,500 at the golden pocket, right? So stay on top of here. Technically, right, doorway to the POC is open at 26.26, but let's take it level to level here. $2,500, I think, would be really my next major target for Ethereum based on holding the low and coming into that golden pocket retracement. Very simple. Money flow, market cipher looks exactly the same as Bitcoin, so I won't even really cover that. But yeah, I mean, this was our major target as we were here, and it remains the target, right? We're holding the value area low. Talked about this, I believe, on Friday, right? If we get a pullback, the biggest level of support to watch is that value area low. We come down, we tap it, we hold it. Doorway, again, technically within the larger profile, bigger target does remain at the POC at 26.26, but again, you do have this major golden pocket sitting here, ending at about $2,500. So let's see. And on top of that, right, same thing as Bitcoin, obviously, but with your money flow coming up here, daily money flow, green dot printing, what do you expect? Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. That would be the target. And I would say the line in the sand there, I mean, I would just look at that as the target, to be honest. But if you want to get real technical, let's pull this. Whoops. Yeah, this 786 is going to be really the line in the sand, right? Break above that 786. I'm looking to take out the high. And the next target, let me tighten this up a bit. Sitting between 2,500 and 2,470. So, I mean, I really just look for the 2,500. But flip that 786. I'm looking to take out that high into the next resistance. 90-minute money flow in the green as well. So your pullbacks here could potentially be looked at as higher lows, higher highs in the local trend. But yeah, let's see. Overall, I mean, as long as you're above that value area low, let me pull up a more local profile here real quick. Right, I'm not saying that you have to go through this entire profile, but at the end of the day, if you want to get like high time frame, I don't want to get carried away here, right? But I mean, once you get above this 786 in the PLC, technically the doorway is open to $3,400. I'm not saying you're on your way to $3,400 right now, so take it with a grain of salt, or not a grain of salt, but like take it step by step, right? You have a major volume profile here that we'll take a look at if the time comes. But let me just do this real quick. So in the 2021 range, the only other volume profile I can really look at here, POC of that range sits at $2,500, right? So this is previous POC. I'll mark this out. All right, so like, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can, if you could hold this uptrend, I mean, that would be the next major target, $2,500. Will we see Ethereum at $2,500? I think it's likely. And then once you get above that golden pocket, 786 sits at about $2,700, which is eerily close to your previous lows here. We pulled this volume profile real quick. So I don't want to give too many targets here. Take it level to level. These levels aren't going anywhere. But yeah, get above that golden pocket. I'd be looking towards that 786 at about 2719. So 2500 and then 2719 as the major targets. Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. Unfortunately, guys, I am down to 1 cup of coffee a day, and she's empty. She's empty. Now I got the Aztecian actual cactus water, not moss water. The moss water is the stuff that gives you energy. Let's take a sip of this. Takes me about a week to drink one of these. Shout out to James, said I don't use leverage. I just love to learn and watch. Shout out to James. Thank you for being here, brother. Thank you for being here. Still useful information, even if you're not, you know, whether you're trading spot or leverage trading, trading a prop firm, doesn't matter. Let's see. Shout out to Manipulated, said news will give you an instant move up or down, but then it will correct to what the chart was telling you for a longer term move. Yeah. The trick is catching the move before the instant move happens, which is how I find my sniper entries. Right, like again, I always point back to like the more recent. Oh, there we go, nice little pullback there. The more recent situation with like this is just one that I remember. The short that we took in the premium from up here, right? It was just simply based off of volume profiles, like my typical analysis, right? Deviate above the high. This is expensive. There's the daily getting tapped. We get above the value area high. This is looked at as expensive. A lot of people are thinking, oh my God, breakout. Oversold, right? Or overbought, and essentially, right? Expensive. I see those local confirmations. I take the short in anticipation of coming back into the range and going down to the value area low. So we're short before the news here. And then that news just, helps you on down there. This is all based off money flow, all technicals. And then, you know, also what you're saying is correct as well, right? Like you get the instant move down. You know, maybe you're not able to short, you might not be able to short the top, but if you can, it's beautiful. But then you get the corrective move, right? And then you get the big move down. But yeah, I think I shorted 124K was my entry up here. All right, let's come on into those lower time frames. Daily getting tapped. Let's see if we can lose this. Will it hold? Will it blend? How many people have watched Will It Blend? I grew up on that guy. Guy's the GOAT. He was like he was kind of like, if you guys remember Will It Blend, that guy was like the first, he was like one of the first like real true YouTubers of like what YouTubers turned into. He's like, today we're going to see what happens when we take an iPhone and we blend it. It's like Mr. Beast. Today I'm taking a Lamborghini and I'm going to hit it with a train. Why does it feel like 83 to 84K is the top where literally everyone forgets the market can start going down then and there? I don't know, man. I mean, for me, trading is a game of trapping. If I have a trap up at resistance, I'm going to be looking for pullbacks, right? And then if it goes along with my longer-term thesis, yeah. I mean, again, max pain here, guys, if I had to kind of come up with what I would think the max pain scenario would be, it would be, you know, again, regardless of pullbacks or whatever, we get up to like 82K, right? People are like, oh my God, I missed it. Right? Funnel everybody in and then nuke it, or push it up and really create FOMO, funnel everybody in. Obviously an opportunity to nuke it again. So yeah, I don't know. I trade the charts. What about Shoe Nice? Yeah, Shoe Nice is the GOAT too. Saw a documentary about that dude recently on YouTube. I don't think he's doing good, man. That guy kind of, I feel like he was always kind of struggling. But yeah, Shoe Nice is one of the GOATs as well. Steve Will Do It kind of went in his footsteps. Imagine this is the top. Not impossible. I mean, we're at resistance. If it's the top, hey, let's go. Short from the top. Let's see. Shout out to Mind Exploded. Welcome in. Said hello, ladies and gents and in-betweeners. What is going on? It is 2026. You can be whatever you want now. Sorry I'm late. I'll have to start from the beginning. All right, from the top. PewDiePie. Yeah, I mean, wasn't he like the first YouTuber or the first one to hit 1 million subs? Something like that. It's like a drama series that perpetually gets more dramatic drama to the upside, hopefully. Yeah. You got to try not to feel the drama. Try not to feel it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of jaded, right? Like, I've just been trading for so long and, like, just even looking at the charts for so long that it's like, after you see, like, this stuff play out and, like, just, like, massive jumps down, massive pumps up, like, just after, I mean, there is market experience. Like, there's nothing that can replace market experience. You know, I would never say trade-off feeling, but there is something to say that, like, you know, sometimes my trades are somewhat discretionary, right? And it just, I can't explain what it is. It's always based off information, but, like, you know, anytime I think, like, you know, I will say, like, I just have a feeling, right? I'll make the decision based off the information, but, like, sometimes I do incorporate a little bit of discretion in there as well, because I've just seen things play out so many times, right? Like, sometimes you'll see a massive pump, and it's like, oh my God, it's super bullish, right? Like, back here. Right? Like, yes, this is bullish. Yes, we had a massive low volume gap ahead, right? But it doesn't mean you have to fill it right then. What do we do? Or, yeah, here and here, right? I think of what I'm thinking of is more of this, right? It's like you have the low volume gap ahead. You don't necessarily have to fill it. I take the short, right? And people be like, what the heck, though? It's like, it's bullish. It's like, yeah, sure, but, like, we're going to get the SFP, whatever it is, right? You look for those failed auctions. Like, I'm going to take that trade, right? Because, again, it doesn't matter. Even if we come down here and we continue up, right? Like, I can lock in profit here on the short and then just continue to profit on the longs. Like I always say, like, the faucet's always on. If the market's going up and down, doesn't matter if you're trading at 500K, 200K, 100K, 30K. As long as the price does this to some degree, I will always be able to extract money from this market. I have a skill that cannot be taken away from me. So that's why, like, I don't get emotional if I miss moves. Obviously, I am long from 66K, but if I miss this move somehow, right, and just, like, never got in on any retracement, right, like, I would not be emotional about that, right? I would just be, like, taking the shorts, right, and then eventually I would catch a long on a retracement. Like, no one could take that away from you. And you start thinking, like, oh, my God, I have to funnel into a long up here because you feel like you missed the move. It's like the worst thing you can think, right? Because at some point, you're going to get a pullback and an opportunity. You just got to wait for those opportunities. Trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting. If the price doesn't come into your trap and you don't get the setup, right? Let's just say you want to look for a long down here. If the price doesn't come in there and continues up, well, hey, you just sit on your hands and you wait for your next target. If price is rejecting from a level that is not one of your key levels with no confirmation, you just let price move. You don't have to stare at the 1 minute chart 100% of the time. I'm a little late. Did you discuss the SFP at 79.4 and other validations that went with the rejection? If so, I'll go to the beginning. Yeah, I did cover it. For me, it's actually kind of like a little specific there. We did SFP, that previous high right above the daily. But for me, we had this previous value area. On top of that, we did get some low time frame bull divs into that SFP, push into the range, get stuck underneath. That's where we could see the bigger pullback, right? Low time frame money flow trying to come out. Let's check that 15-minute. It's still up there, right? But we are potentially rounding off here. Check that 7-minute money flow coming out. That'd be nice with a 2-hour red dot. It's already confirmed. So, yeah, I mean, right now, the 1/16th would be the 4-hour red dot with the 15-minute money flow. If you could see that 15-minute money flow, continuation of the downtrend would be in store, right? And then, again, the next local level of support I will be watching is going to be, and, again, very local, sitting right here between 78,154 and 77,460. If we don't get down there, I will take more profit on my short if we get down there. If we don't get down there and we shoot up, I'll get stopped out. I'll just call it break even. I'll probably be in a little bit of profit there, but we'll just say stop it at break even, and then long will continue to pay. Shout out to Busta, said, hey, Frank, if BTC is going to 82K, how about ETH? We actually did just take a look at Ethereum. I'm looking at around $2,500 for the next major target on ETH. Shout out to Mark, said, I'm all spot. I traded leverage tokens all in 2021. This cycle, I have spot bags from excellent entries and a nice swing trade on Aerodrome last year from 40 cents to $1.10. Then bought more ZBCN. Shout out to Mark. Sounds like you're crushing it, bro. Nice work. Nice work. Shout out to Mark, says BTC going to finish up business at 76K real quick and bust higher if the worst stuff stays as quiet as it can be. Yeah, that's the other thing with the news, right? Like, you get bullish news, oh, buy, and then they come out. It's like, actually, never mind. Actually, never mind. I know we said that thing, but it's just not a thing anymore. Talk about manipulation. Oh, next target for Sol. Let's take a look at Sol real quick. Sol lagging, man. We talked about this a lot recently. Solana is just, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Solana's just like behind. Come on, catch up here. I mean, you got the same signals. You got the daily green dot. You got the money flow in the green. And to be fair, right, you are continuing the uptrend. But, I mean, we're just still in the lower range. Right? Pull this side by side with Bitcoin. Oh, wow. I guess we'll just leave this line on the chart. It's working so far. If it doesn't work, guys, we're going to delete it and we'll take down the live stream so nobody knows we were wrong. I'm just kidding. But Bitcoin in the lower range. Money flow goes in the green. Breakout. Solana in the range. Money flow in the green. Money flow in the green. I had to peek behind myself there. Not getting the breakout just yet. Might just be late to the party. But I would say the charts all pretty much look the same, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, it's going to be certain outliers. But, yeah, I mean, Solana just kind of lagging there a little bit. But from a money flow perspective, a market cipher perspective, it's in the same kind of situation. Next target to the upside I'd be looking at is about, if you take out the high, the next major target would be about 103.28 at the daily MPOC. Let me actually dig in here a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I mean your major value area low still sits. Same thing as Bitcoin. This is like 86K on Bitcoin. If you're able to impulse out here, could start to attract towards that previous value. I mean, it's a pretty long shot right now. But, oops. Yeah, I mean, this thing's just still within the range. Your goal here is to get out of this value area, break the high, and then, yeah, I mean, really the only other target I could look at here is 102. I mean, maybe I can do kind of the same thing as I'm looking at on Bitcoin, which is pull that kind of consolidation that we're looking at currently. There's that daily MPOC. Value area low. I'll just leave the daily MPOC as the point of control of the range. And then the value area high. I mean, this is your upper value area locally. Another thing I can do is pull it from... No, I mean, yeah, that would be what I would look for. Yeah. Let's pull a fib. Get above the golden pocket. Got your value area low, 786. Get above that. Daily MPOC, get above that. You can look for the value area high. Value area low, 786 zone sits between 98.34 and 99.59. Obviously going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Potential opportunity for scalp shorts there. But with money flow, you would hope to get back in there and eventually continue up through the range. Let me just fix this up. So value area low, 786, 98.13 to 99.59. Get above that. Daily MPOC at about $103. Above that, value area high sitting at about 105.61. Biggest key level of support to remain on top of, in my opinion, is still going to be this key level down here, 786. Same thing as yesterday. All right, once you lose that 786, I'd be looking to take out these lows at 76.80. Like the stream and close your shorts. 86K incoming. Shout out to Ventry. I don't know how to say your name, bro. Yeah, underperforming compared to last year. Is definitely behind, right? Like, I think looking at it side by side to Bitcoin and even like Ethereum, too. Try to line these up. Right? There's your local range. There's your local range. Ethereum already cracking the high. Solana just behind here. Interesting. I wish I had an answer for it. The chart looks the same. I don't know. Less interest? Who knows? My name is short for Anthony. The V is an A. Anthony. Shout out to Anthony. I used to call my cousin Anthony. Of course I have a cousin Anthony. I got an Uncle Tony. His Uncle it's like such a stereotypical New York Italian. Anytime I talk to someone that's not from New York, I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Carlo Bacciello. They're like, that's not a real name. That's a joke. That's a stereotype. I'm like, no, it's like everyone I know from New York has hilarious Italian names. Let me just jump into Bitcoin. Yeah, we're still kind of hanging out down here. So short-term pullbacks overall still looking for the continuation up. Medium term. Up 430 on the short here. Already got profits locked in, but up 430 unrealized. It's that little pop. It's all you need. It's all you need. Obviously, I'm looking for more personally, but, at the end of the day, when I talk to people, they have these, like, grand, I've been trading for a week. I'm looking to make my first 10K month. And it's like, dude, like, I'm looking for this massive move, right? Like, all you need are these little pops, right? This is more than most people make in their full-time job in a day, right? And you can just catch it on the chart in the comfort of your own home, or I don't know, wherever you like to look at the charts. Everything's going to lag because BTC is not done. Let's go. When BTC finishes the move and settles for a day or two, alts will bust. Yeah, shout out to Mark. It's typically what we see happen. Shout out to Quantum Yoda, said, please show an example of using CVD. You could check the tutorial. If you go to the beginner series, I have a tutorial video showing what I look for and how I use the CVD divergences for entries. I also explain like the theory behind it as well. Quick high time frame analysis on Tesla. Let's see. Wow. I'm shocked to see TA on here. Let me just get this stuff into folders real quick. Oh, whoops. Bear with me here, guys. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's take a high time frame view. All right, so you got your previous value coming from back here. Does end up, this is why volume profiles are beautiful, guys. Deviate above the highs, back to the POC. One more deviation, back in, full rotation. Where do you get the bounce? Right from the value area low, into the POC, into the high, deviation, back in, back below the POC, back to the high, back to the low. So this is the context here that I would be looking at on Tesla. Shout out to Muskie Boy. Looking to potentially reclaim. You got a daily red dot coming in here, so you could pull back, but looking for the reclaim. This is important support here at the value area low. 384.25. POC sitting at 418.43. And then your value area high sitting at 436.07. So, theoretically, right, you could play around with this level a little bit, but if you can reclaim value area low, next target would be the POC. We'll take a look at market cipher in a second. All right, get above the POC, look for the value area high. So that's your value. Let's check the high time frame money flow. Now, money flow does move a lot differently. I do want to be very transparent here. I have my thumb on the pulse of the crypto market, right? And the way Market Cipher B moves with crypto. It is a little different on stocks. It's not that it's not valid. It just moves a lot slower. So you have another overall pull it to this low here. Yeah, so I have another bigger volume profile here. I'm just kind of doing this TA in real time. Let's pull an anchored VWAP here real quick. Interesting. This is probably going to be on the POC. Yeah. So I would say this is definitely an important level of support. I would watch this level. I mean, at the end of the day, right, if you don't want this thing to get a major dump, you don't want to get back inside this profile. So I would say this is probably your most important level of support right now. Once you lose this, I would personally be looking... I'd have to be looking for a crack of that low. At that point, you're below the POC. Like, that could indicate a massive dump. So, like, really, this is going to be a really important level to hold on top of. Sits between 325 and 274. And yeah, I would say like locally, you're hoping to hold on top of this value area low at 384.44. Let's check the 4-hour. 4-hour money flow attempting to come up. Right, that does typically, just like on crypto, indicate a continuation of the uptrend. Continuation of the uptrend. Cross into the red. Massive dumps. So you got 4-hour money flow attempting to come up. It's faking back out into the red here, but overall, you spent a lot of time in the red here. So I would say, I know this is, in general, your major level of support you want to hold, right? 384, I would look for a push into the POC if you can crack the high, and then get above that, you can look for the value area low. And then if you get like a big, if you get that pullback, this is major, major support. I would say if you can't hold on to this for a bigger move up, I mean, this would be probably a massive, massive dump. Because at that point, you're losing the 786. If that POC doesn't hold you up, can't get back above that 786, lose the POC, I'm looking, I mean, potentially down to the value area low. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen or anything, but, just to show the importance of that support. Wow, weekly money flow cooking back to the upside. Interesting. So, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on Tesla. Not a stock trader. 21 moving average on the 1 hour, calling Biddy's name, 78.1. Oh, there it is, right on that golden pocket. Come on, baby. We shall see. Can we take a look at Tau? Let's go over to the alt chart here. Have not looked at this in quite some time. Let's see. That's 786. I assume. Oh no, 786 is still valid. Yeah, golden pocket here gave you the lower high for the lower low. That's now irrelevant. Two-day green dot looking to print. Inverted VWAP here, but two-day green dot, VWAP coming up. Let's take a look at the daily. Money flow in the green. Yeah, money flow kind of wonked out here, to be honest, which is not uncommon, right, in this weird price action. So overall, let me go ahead. Okay. That 786 is still valid. Golden pocket's off the chart, probably because we tapped it last time we looked at it. No. So you got your golden pocket sitting here. So golden pocket 786. I mean, if this thing's going to continue up in a big way, that's going to be major resistance. I'm just going to pull this overall volume profile, get a little context here. POC rejection. I probably already have this on the chart if I had to guess. There it is. But we can now extend this as we are inside value. So let me pull this fib real quick. Low to high. Speed TA. All right, so I would say on the macro, pretty big zone here, but you do have your golden pocket value area low, and where your golden pocket 786, golden pocket is confluent with your value area low. See where this anchored VWAP sits. You're already losing that anchored VWAP. Grab that POC. So this is your major support. I mean, if you're going to continue an overall uptrend, let's take a look at the higher time frames. Money flow attempting to come up here. Again, I don't really have a ton of interest in altcoins right now, but doesn't mean you don't. Yeah, I mean, this would kind of be the lowest I would like to go, right? Once you lose that 786, I'd be looking for a bigger breakdown. But as of right now, I mean, your high time frame money flow, it's a little soon to call for it, but it's attempting to come up. VWAP rolling over on the 4 day. So if you're going to go ahead and potentially get that green dot, money flow crosses green, take out the high into your golden pocket 786. I mean, this is the profile I would look at. Major support. Ideally, you don't lose the value area low, but if you do, I would accept a wick. No high time frame body closures down there, but hold that 786, get back in. Doorway opens up to the POC, flip the POC, push into the golden pocket 786, which is also confluent with your value area high. So this range, value area low sitting at 226.32, POC sitting at 321.97, value area high at 445.37. Again, you have the confluence there on that golden pocket 786. If this money flow continues into the green, you can see the continuation of the uptrend. 2-day money flow in the green, looking for a green dot as well. So I would say it's valid to be looking for a higher low here, potentially, especially if Bitcoin's going to continue up. Might get some turbulence, but this will be the level to hold in order to see that bigger push up towards the golden pocket value area high. So there you go. And then the golden pocket 786, 230.97. Line in the sand for a bigger move down is to lose that 786 at 190.92. Pretty simple. So there you go. My shift boss just came in. Shout out to Lindo. Hide the phone. Hide the laptop. Boss, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Let him trade. Let him trade. The only way to get the bottom is to buy on the worst days as low as you can get. I waited on Anchor for a year because other stuff was ready. ZBCN was ready already under less than a cent. Now is anchored. Now Anchor's at 5 cents. Or yeah, I think that's what that says. Or 0.005. Shout out to Captain Kirk. What is going on? What time did we start today? I don't even know what time we started. Bitcoin was moving, so we went live, baby. We went live. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in. How to master SFPs like a pro. Check out the tutorial in the beginner series on how to trade SFPs, or how I personally trade them. Not only what to look for, but also how you can sometimes you get an SFP and it won't close. Like oftentimes you will close like right below the level, but sometimes right you can get a wick above if you're waiting for like a 1 hour SFP. You want to wait for that candle closure. Sometimes that candle closure happens like all the way down here, and you get like a pretty nasty, like a gross entry. I even show you some low time frame confirmations to look for to try to Bitcoin, guys. I'll hide the local TA. Watch this local support sitting here at 78,154 down to 77,460. This is where I will be looking at. Shout out to Anthony. Thank you for getting that membership. I appreciate you. Welcome to the Candle Mafia. You can never leave now, or Lucy is going to attack you. He's like, who's Lucy? I've never been here before. Shout out to Skywalker. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. But yeah, watch this support. Golden Pocket 786, anchored VWAP, and then you do have that bottom of the CME gap sitting at about 77,460. Top of the Golden Pocket sitting at about 78.1. We'll see if we can get that bounce. And then if we lose it, obviously scrub back to the beginning of the stream. But yeah, overall, guys, you know, big move to the upside. We'll see. I mean, if we get the drop from here, short from the literal top. But that would be the local support that I'm looking at. And then, you know, overall, I'll have to see how this kind of plays out, right? Obviously, you have your trend line here at about $76,000. You know, if we have to go back and retest that, depending on if and when that happens, right? It might be confluent with this daily MPOC between 75 and 76K. Yeah, got your previous value area high there. I'll drop an update. If we get like a big drop or something like that, drop an earlier update in the morning, or maybe I'll just go live. But we'll see. We'll see if we can make it down to that local support. Other than that, overall medium time frame, guys, decent breakout of this range. And hey, if this is a sign that money flow doesn't lie, if this isn't a sign that money flow doesn't lie, I don't know what will. I don't know what is. But yeah. There we are. And again, we break above where we are right now. Hold the daily MPOC. Next target to the upside, $81,000 to $82,000. You got the anchored VWAP. So next target to the upside, sitting right here. Local target I just went over. And then underneath that, I mean, I guess I'll mark off this daily MPOC. Because this MPOC is also like confluent with these highs. Like you wouldn't really, I mean, you lose this. It's not that you can't continue up, but like you would expect more downside. You don't really want to lose this structure here. So yeah, I would say, you know, 75K daily MPOC trend line to the upside. You have 81 to 82K. Other than that, in the scalp short here, we'll see if we can get a little bit more of a pullback. And we got some scalp longs that we'll be looking at in the premium Discord as well, but we'll save that for the premium. Just check in on the trade one more time here. Up 500 now, not much more than before. Still up about 10K on the long. I'm waiting for my next target to take more profits on my long. If we wind up getting some mega dump, I'll close that in profit. But yeah, if we can make it up, I'm going to try to hold this to see if we can get to that $81,000 to $80,000 target. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Smash that like button on your way out if you appreciate the free daily key levels, full analysis, and trading education. Shout out to E-Rock. Said, did anyone see Pompiliano's video yesterday? Pretty funny. Shout out to E-Rock. I did not. Shout out to Santiago. Said, hey, Frankie, we expect to pump more. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream. Obviously, overall, I do remain medium time frame bullish, guys. 2-day money flow, daily money flow continuing into the green. Obviously, we're at resistance. If we see those pullbacks, I will be looking at those for higher lows and higher highs. And this is another 2-hour short stream by your boy Frankie Candles. Smash that like button, guys. Thank you for being here. If you want to check out any of the indicators or exchanges that I use to trade, check the links in the description down below and help support the channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on the road, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
See you later, Mafia. Bing bong.